I'm Scott Al Miller. It is the 2nd of February 2023. This is my vlog of daily life in León, Nicaragua. Today we're going to be walking through more of Veracruz, and we're also going to be talking about some of the things you need to really think about, some context you need to have when you're looking at moving to another country, Nicaragua, for example, but it could be anywhere because it's easy to put on the rose-colored glasses, which I will put on for this video, we want to make sure you get a real picture. We want to make sure you're thinking about all the positives, the negatives, and all the things that may affect you and how those of us who live here may be influencing that. All right, let's get to it. All right, when we did our first walkthrough of Veracruz, my camera died, and this is one of the houses that got missed. This beautiful, I think it's salmon colored. I'm more or less colorblind all the time, and then this place is beautiful. But I'm also wearing sunglasses that really alter my perception of color. So that's it's very hard for me to say, oh, I like this little thing they have going on here next to the garbage. And then this is the little cut that goes from the upper road in Veracruz down to the middle road. So I'm going to walk along the upper road. So my goal today was twofold. One, I've got my topic, but the other is I'm walking to a different portion of Veracruz to cover some of the stuff that we haven't covered previously, or we covered very little. Buenas tardes. However, I was like, when I left, I was very confident. I'm like, wow, I'm bringing my phone. I've got the map, because I'm not going places where I'm going to get lost, but there's some things I want to show you on certain roads, and sometimes that requires some very specific walkways. And I got up here and reached in my pocket and realized I did not have my phone. I had left that back at the house. Luckily, I do have my watch on, so I'm tracking something. I know how far I've gone and what time it is and all that, but I do not know much more than that. Ooh, this is interesting. So we've not been here before. I'm turning this around. This is Quinta Corena, and this is a big space here. I don't think there's anyone in there, but I really can't see. I'm sunblind quite a bit. It's a whole bunch of cottages in this big space on the upper road here in Veracruz. So if you're looking at a map, I'm on the east side. I'm pretty far south in Veracruz on the upper road, the upper being to the south, because the hill goes up that way. And I am walking to the east. I've shown a little bit of this previously. This is not the heaviest portion of Veracruz, and I'm going to try to find some roads that we haven't shown before, because at least looking on a map, some exist, and they go through in a way that we missed previously. So I'm gonna kind of search around while we're talking. But right now we're in areas where we've been, so I'm not going to talk about so much what I'm seeing until something changes. But I do love some of these. Very modern over here, and this blue and yellow, so cute right here. Always love Veracruz. Okay, so my topic for today. This came up on the channel because I did the American Guide to Nicaraguan Bathrooms just a few days ago, maybe a week ago. And someone made the comment of, ooh, some of the things I mentioned were really showstoppers for them. These are really things that they were not prepared to potentially deal with moving to another country. And no, he made the point, he's older and if he was younger and more adventurous, he probably wouldn't mind those things, but being older and looking for a very easy retirement or a more comfortable retirement situation is something pretty important to him. And some of the things that we mentioned would be problems. They would really be tough for them to deal with. And it kind of ruled out Nicaragua for him. Now, of course, there's ways to deal with that. I'm not trying to say that there's absolutely no way that you can work around some of those limitations, especially the things that we mentioned in the bathroom video. If you have your own place and you're not looking to travel around extensively, you can generally, buenas tardes. Oh, we got some new construction going on over here. I think we showed this previously, but they were not this far along, and I don't think we knew they were actively building a new house. This is cool. You can see actual houses going in right now. You can see that's a very large house. I don't know if you can see how deep that is. That is a really good sized house right there. And then I think this is active construction on the left as well, but maybe abandoned. I'm not really sure. We might be able to look in. I'm going to try to pay attention. I'm not 100% sure that we have walked right here before. Now I'm distracted. Right, we were all about having a topic. Now I'm distracted. So no, we have not been here. So we have two. You can tell they're really new in front of us, and this third one going up right here. Now these are smaller, but very cute, and what a great location. Just right in the heart of Veracruz. Now so we walked down here where the dog just came from, and we saw that house, but we didn't come this way. We turned and went up the middle road, and so we didn't see the stuff on this corner. So we have just a tiny bit of new here. Buenas tardes. Okay, so this is active construction right now. So new things are going in quite a bit here in Veracruz. That's actually really exciting. Like when we've shown it, most of it that we walk through, I keep mentioning that there's opportunities and people should be jumping on stuff here, but there's a lot actually going on. And now these are some of the beautiful established houses. That's what makes this a great community to consider, because there is established stuff. Some of it is available currently, and some is lived in. There's a lot of people who live here. This is a popular active area. And there are new things being built and lots of spots where you could build new. But this is a neat, I guess this is like a tripleplex here. And you can see they're actively working on it today. So very, very cute, brand new, cool opportunities. I like the tiles on their steps. It's very nice. Very, very nice. I'm going to walk down this little road. I have no idea where this goes. We have this yellow house over here. We're off on an adventure. We'll come back. I think I can take this upper road. We're going to take the lower one first. There are houses that I came and saw when I was looking in Veracruz a year ago, and I've never found them again while walking. So there's enough of Veracruz that I can't even figure out where things I know are. Even though we've walked this a bit, you guys have seen me on the show a bit. Anyway, back to topic. So it is really important. Not just with Nicaragua, with looking at any country. It's easy when talking to those of us who have moved here. Ooh, this is the house. This is the place that I've talked about. This was $350, 3-bedroom. It did not have this cute doggy here, so someone has rented this. I love this house. It has a huge yard, really nice inside. Get this great. Oh, these are the cutest dogs. They're so cute. Look at you guys. Oh my gosh. Has this really great wall going around, lots of greenery, and it's got a beautiful big yard. I did show, I think, a little bit of it on the show about a year ago when we came looking at different places for Alan and Anna. And this is one that I was really, really into. I thought that the layout of the house and the size of the yard, and at $350 a month, like, it was killer. It was very modern, very comfortable. I think it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a good sized living room and a good sized kitchen with just a giant yard. So it'd been great for a small family or a couple who wanted to do entertaining, have a home office. If you had animals like those big dogs, is perfect. So it's nice that those dogs have that big yard to run around in. But that is one that I keep using as an example of how much I like. Now this one I know nothing about. I have not seen it. And then some empty lots here that are available. And this one that looks like they never finished it. So in any country, it's really important to consider that those of us who choose to live here, right? Yeah, this is just a big empty spot. This a lot of potential for a small something. And then this beautiful open space here. The nature of having chosen Nicaragua in my case, right? I love Nicaragua. That's why I chose it. So the blend of things that make Nicaragua good, the blend of things that make it bad, for me, lean very much towards the things that are good are what are important to me, and the things that are bad are what are not important to me, right? In this example, for the proximity to travel locations and the cost of living, those things are very important to me, and Nicaragua's great. Those are big pros. Negatives are things like most of the showers are cold. Well, that is a negative. It's a con, but it's not a big one. When you say, well, doesn't that make you not want to live there? No, it doesn't really affect me at all. Do I wish it was warm? Of course I do. Is it a big deal? No, not at all. But for someone else, the cost of living may not matter at all. You have millions and millions of dollars. You say, I don't care. I don't care if it costs me $800 a month in rent instead of $300 a month in rent for the same place, but I want hot water and I want you know, certain luxuries or just whatever. Different people have different blends of what's important to them in all kinds of different ways. Kind of just checking out. This seems to be where the dirt just goes for construction and stuff. It's kind of the end of the road there. We're gonna head over here. So that's an important thing to remember when you're watching anyone who lives in Nicaragua, who chose to live here, right? Not someone who was born here, but for those of us who moved here, you basically have guaranteed that you're talking or listening to someone who has chosen this blend of factors, whatever it is, as the ones that make sense for them. So you're always going to get a certain rosier picture, no matter what, right? Of any country. Every place you look at is going to be that way. And it's also important to keep in mind that every place has its negatives. And it's really easy, especially doing a YouTube show, to spend a lot of time talking about all the awesome things. Because I spend my time doing the awesome things, right? What do I want to show you? Well, I want to show you great food that I'm eating. I want to show you cool walks that I'm going on. I want to show you neat houses that I'm visiting, whatever. All these things that's what's fun to show you. That's what people are interested in seeing. And showing me taking a cold shower is not something anyone wants to see, right? And I don't want to show. And so there's a certain obvious nature to, I'm going to kind of turn the camera so the light's not incredibly awful. There's a certain natural effect of, even without intending to, selling any location where you are, where you're filming. Like if I was to go on vacation in Mexico, every bit of it would look fantastic because I'm putting in an effort to make it fantastic while I'm there. Real quickly, we're gonna turn around. So this beautiful open field, which has so much potential here. I'm just gonna swing around. Sorry, I know a lot of swinging today. So this is a big open corner lot. We just came up over there. Sorry, came up this way. The beautiful houses that I really, really like that I kind of wish I would have rented is right over there. And this spot is available. Here are the phone numbers for it. This is available for sale. And this is just a fantastic spot. If you wanted to put in a small house with a big yard, if you wanted to put in a big, you know, you can kind of see what it's like. Like this could be a wide open spot and be really gorgeous. Or you could build an outside wall around it and enclose something and have a good sized yard. You could build a huge house that filled the whole thing, or a small house with a lot of yard around it. A lot of potential, and really nothing's done. And probably a very affordable spot to get into, considering a gorgeous pre-built house that with all kinds of mature foliage is only $350 a month. You can imagine what it costs to just buy an empty lot. Hola, buenas tardes. So great opportunities there, and you can see the houses that we're walking by directly across the street from there are beautiful, right? You would have really great neighbors with big, gorgeous houses. Nice quiet community, and you know, it's not like there's traffic or anything. It's a great place to have kids and retire, whatever. Like it's a nice community. And so because of that, it's really important to really ask and consider what are the negatives of the places that you're going. I'm going to show this beautiful blue house too. Look at this. I don't know this one. What a great spot. Lots of great spots. Hopefully the light's not too bad for that. And so there are negatives of every country, of every opportunity, of every place you're looking at. There are negatives, and here in Nicaragua, of course, there's negatives. That's why it's so cost effective, right? Because we normally have cold showers, because we don't have a train taking you anywhere, because we only have one international airport, because you can't flush in most places, and you can't easily fix that. And there's a lot of, you know, modern shopping is really challenging, and there's all these little things, and they add up, and they do make it harder. And interesting place, very modern, and it has a certain feel, and the weather is just always hot, right? And so you have to look at all these things and say, well, okay, so Scott's there and Scott loves it, but Scott's okay, so he's okay with it being hot because it's consistent. Great, okay, I understand that factor. How does that apply to you, right? Are you ready for that? The lack of train. Okay, but he hires taxis and they drive him all over, so he still has kind of a public transportation-y kind of thing going on. Okay, I can see why that works for him. Does that work for you? That's a big question, and it's really easy for me, because Nicaragua is awesome, to sell it, whether intentionally or accidentally, to be like, oh, it's so fantastic, and it is for me, right? And it might be for you. But chances are the factors you care about are different than mine. I'm very adventurous. I'm very willing not to drive. I love traveling in Central America. I love the places that I can get to easily from Nicaragua. They're all things I really like. I'm going to turn this while I'm talking and just show some beautiful houses. These are on the left, the really cool ones that we just saw being constructed. Now we're going to head back this way because I think this is roughly the way I wanted to take you in the first place. Or I'm just lost. Always a possibility. I try to act like I'm not lost on the video, like I meant to be here. But I think my long-term viewers understand that I'm lost a lot of the time. And so when we're talking about Nicaragua, keep in mind there really are negatives. Those of us who are here have accepted those negatives, and we feel that they're not so big of a deal that we wouldn't choose it. That's why we're here. But everybody chooses different places for those reasons. And if this is too hot, but you like everything else, well, maybe Guatemala is the right place for you. If you don't like the food selection here, that's a big problem. If you don't like what food is available, that's going to be very hard to work around. Possible, but a lot of effort. If it's, well, it doesn't have quite as much variety as I like, okay, you can tweak things. I'm going to hire a chef. I'm going to order out a lot. I'm going to travel to the capital where there's a bigger selection on the weekends, whatever. There's ways to work around those things. But if it's fundamentally you don't like the food, well, you might need to consider Colombia, Argentina, or not Latin America at all. You may need to think about those things. And I don't know exactly what all I wanted to kind of say in this video, but I don't want to overly paint an outrageously rosy picture of Nicaragua or anywhere. I love traveling. I love exploring the world. If you send me to England or Germany or Italy or North Africa, I love being there. I love trying the new food. I love meeting new people and just the excitement of it all. So I tend to be a very positive person in that way, especially when it comes to travel and exploring humanity and culture and those kinds of things. And kind of a funny thing about me is I have this sort of, I don't know how to describe it, but this dream of living every life. Like I look at this beautiful house here and I immediately think to myself, ooh, I wonder what life would be like living in that house. I wonder what it would be like watching TV there on a Friday night. I wonder what it would be like to work from there. I wonder what those lives are like. And I find them all interesting and exciting. And so whether it's a tiny house in a little neighborhood or a mansion on a hill or a ocean front or a mountainside or whatever, all those things I tend to see in a certain positive light. I'm going to show you, this is another very large lot that is available. This is this is really old, so it says MOV. That is a really old reference to Tigo back when it was called Movie Star. When I was here 8 years ago, its name was Movie Star. I don't know how long it's been Tigo, but it's been quite a long time. So this is directly across the street from the other one. So if you had friends and you wanted to buy two places across the street from each other, absolutely doable right there. Great spots. You could both have some beautiful places. And we're going to come out. We've got some gates here. I am aware that this community does close the gate. So I've been told, so on the video I said that it's gated but not guarded. And I found out that, or I've been told at least, that is not true. It is unguarded during the day. At night they close the gates and a guard comes out. So I think these gates close and stay closed. And the other gates at Los Altos have a guard, and they have the guard station there. This one doesn't have a guard station, but it does have room for one. Now, I do want to point out, this is a park. Now, it's obviously been unkempt for quite some time, but that is a cute little park that at some point could be brought back and made into a cute park again. And this space here is just some plants, but it wouldn't take much to make that into a really beautiful park as well. I'm always looking at those potentials. Now, that is the main road right there. That is the bus, and this is going the other way to Veracruz, and this is a pulperia across the street. So I am going to head this way in this beautiful shaded lane with gorgeous houses outside the gates. Ooh, what a cute, I hope you guys can see this. When I'm walking, I can't always tell exactly what it's like, what you're seeing. But this is interesting. Okay, I think I know where I am. I believe we're at the cross section where a few days ago I did a long walk and we came across here and went and explored down to the right. We came from the left and went down to the right, and now we're crossing over it and going straight out to Nicaragua 14, which is kind of what I wanted to do. So this worked out well. Yes, that is where we are. And right down here on the left, this is where all the buses line up. If you saw the video where I showed all the buses lining up, this is the spot. So now we're gonna see just the tiniest little stretch of Veracruz that we didn't see previously. And this is where it gets busy. As you get next to Nicaragua 14, you get a lot of traffic. And as you get away from it, you get into this really quiet gated neighborhood. So we're gonna turn around so you can see the gate. So that gate is visible from Nicaragua 14, but the other gate that we normally show, the one at the Los Altos entrance, sits right on Nicaragua 14. This one is closer into Sutiava. So the gated community is actually quite large and wraps around a large section of Veracruz. So that is the Residencia Veracruz. The Residencia of Los Altos is inside those gates, and then this is regular Veracruz outside of those gates. So most of the pulperias and most of the action happens outside the gates. Inside the gates, much more quiet. And depending on what you're looking for, you may decide that you want to be inside the gates or outside the gates of any residencia. It is really common to find beautiful communities. Fatima is another great example, where you have the outside, slightly older houses, and you have the inside, smaller, more modern houses, typically. This one's really nice as well. I like this a lot. And partially it depends. Do you want to deal with the gate? Do you not want to deal with the gate? Do you want to pay for security? Do you want to just be on your own? We got a little side road here we might explore. So this is another place that is for sale. Obviously not in great repair. This is, you could tear down the outside wall, or you could leverage the outside wall here. It's got some, I mean, this is nice front window, nice front door. We got a garage space here. So very, very useful, very plausible to actually use. And we'll see, this is all the houses right against Nicaragua 14. And we're gonna take this little side road and go explore. All right. And I love this horizontal style. It's done, it's very modern and clean. I always like how that looks. And it's quite common down here. Central American modern, as I like to call that kind of look. This is another really nice street. Ooh, we're just gonna peer in here just a little bit. I can hear that people are in there, so I don't want to I don't want to intrude, but these are some cute places, great little community. And someone mentioned on the channel, they're like, oh, Sutiava is so rich and expensive. Like, seriously, Sutiava is a very, very poor community overall. This is not a rich area. This particular community of Veracruz is pretty good, but the land prices here are low. You're in Sutiava, which is one of the poorer communities of the region. But this is obviously Veracruz, one of the richer portions of Sutiava, or possibly the richest portion of Sutiava. But it becomes a very affordable affluence, if you will, because it's in Sutiava. The land is not very expensive. If you wanted to build a nice house and didn't want to be right in Veracruz, those people still have Christmas stockings up. That's a little bit weird. You could build just outside, right? Land is so ridiculously cheap because it's Sutiava. And this community, we walked around it the other day when we did the airport walk. We came back on the south side of Veracruz and saw just how quickly it turns into farmland and tiny little walking paths along there. So that's interesting. Anyway, back to our topic of it really is important to consider that there are negatives, and it doesn't matter where you're looking at. Nicaragua, Colombia, Germany, Italy, Spain, Greece, all those places, they have their negatives, and it's really easy to get caught up when we're showing how beautiful it is and be like, wow, it's just fantastic. There's going to be these things everywhere that you need to consider. Everywhere has a different blend of what's good and bad, what's good for you, bad for you, and all those sort of things. And you really have to be sure that you're not getting too excited about the potential and not really sit down and say, okay, what are the negatives? What are the things I'm giving up? What makes it, what makes the weather so even? Oh, is it because it's so warm? What makes it so cost effective. Oh, it's because I can't get flights very easily, or there isn't a lot of shopping, or whatever. Like there's going to be factors. If it was pure, if there was no negatives, right, then the price would go through the roof really, really quickly, and you wouldn't be able to afford it. Well, then that would become a negative. So really quickly, things will balance themselves out. If everyone decides that it's the perfect location, it will become expensive really quickly. Or some other factor will come into play. And so what I really want to say is the importance of keeping perspective on all of this is very important, because as viewers of my show, I chose Nicaragua. I love Nicaragua. It is my first choice, right? I didn't have to come here. There wasn't some place that I wanted to go that denied me. I lived around the world, and for me and my family, for the things that we needed, the blend of things, the cost, the accessibility, all the things, we chose Nicaragua, and we were excited to come to Nicaragua. This is where we wanted to be. And if you're not careful when you're watching this show, or other shows like it, you're going to get that excitement that we have, because this is perfect for us, as perfect as it gets. And you may miss that your needs, your blend, the things that are going to be important to you, things you may not realize, may not be the same as mine. And so that's important to look at it with an eye towards, okay, so he's excited about these things, but what are the negatives? When would I want to look somewhere else? When does it not make sense? Because the last thing we want what we do want is those of you who have never considered Nicaragua, or are lacking information about Nicaragua, and say, I don't know anything about it, I can't make a decision, who knows about Nicaragua? I want you to have the information you need to say, that's the place for me. I watched Scott's show, and now I know that it's the right blend for me. I'm so excited that I learned about it. And I want those of you who are like, I want to learn about it, and then you find out that there's a bunch of negatives that you would not be happy with, you would really have to then move on somewhere else. I want you to say, wow, well, I'm glad I researched it. I watched Scott's show, and I found out that there's a number of things that simply are showstoppers for me. Or the blend of things might be acceptable, but it's not perfect for me. I should be looking somewhere else. And that's really part of the goal. I want to bring, like, for just those who are interested, this is Nicaragua and why it's interesting. And for those of you who are actually thinking this might be a place that you potentially want to live or visit or stay for a while, I want you to have a realistic picture and be able to make those decisions. Yes, I want to move there. I want to visit there. I want to stay temporarily. I want to give it a shot. That I really do want to make it a realistic picture, basically. I don't want to oversell it and act like it's purely rosy. And you saw some of that. We had the issue with the cameras being restricted just a couple weeks ago, and that got fixed. So that was very nerve-wracking, and it ended up very good. So it ended up being a positive, but you could see very quickly that we were scared that it may have been a real problem, and we were going to have to do something potentially dramatic to make those things work. So I tried to show the good and the bad, and I think partly you get a lot. So because I'm excited, you get a lot of good view of that because you're seeing me be excited. But also, I work very hard at making our situation good, right? We have put in the time to make sure. Okay, so here's a bad thing. This is a post, and you could get impaled on this if you were to get drunk and fall over. So things to watch out for, right? I gotta show this bus. Why is there a giant Nike thing on the front of the bus? That is one of the old Mercedes city buses coming by. So the news here in Nicaragua is they just replaced most of the city buses. A huge shipment of 60 new buses, new to Nicaragua, just came in from Russia, and we don't know any of the details. I don't know what kind of buses they are. One drove by and I just missed it, so I'm going to try to grab one on camera pretty soon, because León, Matagalpa, and Masaya are the three cities that got all these new buses, and everyone's seeing them and wondering what's going on, because they're very clearly 60 buses no one's ever seen before. They're all white and a slightly different size and look than we're used to. And it is big news down here. 60 buses in such a small country is a very noticeable thing. So if you're in one of those three cities, our new buses are big news. So I'll try to show them as I walk around. Hopefully in the next week or so I'll manage to catch one. And so I just wanted to wrap up with I have done a lot, right, to find a house that I love and a neighborhood that I love and food delivery that I love and restaurants that I love. And with a bit of effort and time, I've put together a very personal selection of amenities that I think are fantastic. I have amazing internet now with Teco. I have this amazing house in this amazing community, just all these things. And when you first get here, you're not going to have those things. And over time, you'll have to assemble them yourself and figure out what makes sense for you. And depending on where you are, it'll change what's available. And what you see on the video isn't just me loving Nicaragua. You're seeing me loving the assemblage of amenities that I've put together over time. And I really believe that your ability to do those things in Nicaragua are better than most places. I can have a better house. I can have better internet. I can have better food than most places. So that's real excitement, and it's real things to consider. But it may not be the factors that make sense for you, and it's important to keep in mind that that is just the context that you're seeing me in. All right, this was a lot longer episode than I was expecting to have, but we also got to see quite a bit of Veracruz and found some of the things we had been missing and some cute dogs. Thanks for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe. Get down there in the comments. Talk about your experiences with what you're concerned about with coming to Nicaragua or anywhere. What places are you considering? Where are you... what are you comparing Nicaragua to when you're looking at options? Are you looking at like Honduras and Costa Rica and Guatemala, Panama? Are you looking further afield? Are you looking at Europe, Africa, South America? Why are you looking? What's driving you to consider any of these places, let alone this one in particular? Or are you just looking for a vacation, something interesting, somewhere to get off the beaten path and explore, go backpacking? Who knows? And if you'd like to support the channel, of course, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Scott L. Miller. Thank you to everyone who does that. That's what keeps the channel going. And I will see all of you tomorrow.